welcome to Revelations Through Language, the channel where we look into the deeper meanings behind the phrase and words that we use today through the lens of faith. Come with me as we embark on a journey to discover the truth. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another episode, another revelation. Hope you're all doing well. So today's revelation that we're going to be discussing and what we're going to be looking at is what I believe to be the greatest virtue of all, which is humility. And you can see on the screen, I've got a quote from C.S. Lewis saying, "Humility is not thinking less of yourself, but thinking of yourself less." So having humility shows you think of others rather than thinking of yourself. So it's all about being selfless, or we can also use maturity as another synonym for humility. So it's about placing others and thinking of others before yourself. And especially as a Christian, most importantly, being able to do that allows you to place yourself, God above yourself rather than you above Him. So it allows you to lower yourself to put God above. And more importantly, as well, on a human level, being people who are selfless and who are humble, they're able to relate to others because of their selflessness. And people, all of us, when we think of some of the greatest people we've ever come across, are often those who do things for you without thinking of themselves or doing things without any expectation. So let's break down the words and start looking into why humility is the greatest virtue of all. So deconstructing the words humility, broken down into two parts. We've got human, which is obviously our species and what we are as people. And then we've got ability. So the ability is defined as the means or skill to do something. So having humility is literally the very skill to be human. So it's no wonder that those who are the most humble relate to people the most, because they have the very ability or the skill to be the very thing that we were created to be. So straight away, that's why humility is the greatest strength of all, or the greatest virtue of all to have. And often when you meet people who are humble, they have the ability to make things look so easy and so natural, and that's just because they're being themselves, they're being human, the very things that we were created to be. And that's where I turn to Genesis, the very genesis of it all, from the beginning, the creation story in the Bible. So, using a couple of Bible verses to relate to this. So, using the reading from Genesis 1, verse 26, from the very beginning of the creation story, it says, "Then God said, 'Let us make man in our image, after our likeness.'" So, this is why we often say we're all created in the image of God, because it states it in Genesis itself. And a few things to kind of look at here. So, firstly, it says, "Let us make man in our image." So, you can see on the screen, I've highlighted us and our, because these are plural pronouns. So, this from the beginning hinted at God being more than one. So, the three of Trinity, three beings in one. So, us being created in His image and the very ability to be the things that God created us to be, it's not really surprising that those who are the most humble are the most favored, because they're being the very things that God created us to be in the first place. And because we were all created in His image, which means we all have the spirit of God. So it's always important for me to emphasize that when we say image, we're talking about spirit rather than the physical, because God is a spiritual being. So because we're all created in His image and have that spirit within us, those who are the most humble can relate to the most people, because they can all relate to that spirit of God with that all of us possess, and all of us have it in us, whether we're Christians or not. And that's why the Bible teaches us to love our neighbors as ourselves, because we all have that image of God within us. So being humble is about recognizing that spirit within everyone else, because we are all created in His image once again. So those who are the most humble recognize that spirit within every person that they come across. And in order to be able to do that, we have to be able to be selfless, to let ourselves go, so that we can put others first. And those who let go of themselves, so let go of your pride and humble themselves before the Lord and before everyone else, and they have humility. In the book of Matthew, in Matthew 23 verse 11, it tells us that the greatest among you will be your servant. For those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. So the greatest amongst us is a reference to Jesus Christ Himself, because He was the greatest amongst us and He came to serve. So if we all humble ourselves to serve, we can serve one another with love, with dignity, and do it with great honor. So that's why humility is the greatest virtue of all. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment. In the meantime, check out some of my other deep dives. Until the next one, God bless.